Hello, this is Iris for the Cashmere Goat, and in today's video we're going to be talking about working section 1 in the Shift, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry and is the knit along we're doing this month in March of 2023. So let's zoom in just real quick, and you can see that what I have here, these little blips of color, are really just garter stitch blips. So this slip stitch knitting, when you're looking at a row that has the blips of color, that's a row where I'm knitting with that contrast, which in this case is a rainbow skein of Machida by Malabrigo. I'm knitting with the contrast and I'm slipping with that background dark blue, knitting and slipping all the way across. And on the reverse side, I am still knitting the rainbow blips and slipping the dark blue background. And then in between, there's 2 rows where I'm knitting with the primary color of that background. So I'm knitting down 1 row of that background blue and purling down. And that gives the little in-between rows in between the colorful blips. And also I wanted you to notice how on the blips are actually offset. So there's like one blip, and then it's like a triangle to the one on the next row down. So here's one, and if you follow that up in between these 2 other blips, it's not intersecting. It's offset. And then same goes for the part of the section where you are actually knitting 2 in that contrast color rainbow. So knitting 2, slipping 2, knitting 2, slipping 2. And so each of these sections have that similar sort of pattern where you have 5 rows of, or 5 of the contrast rows in one section, and then additional of the knit 2, slip 2. So that's just a little bit of an intro with a close-up. I'm going to be working the first 2 rows of section 1. So you can see I'm on a right side facing, and I'm about to join color B, which is this crazy sea slug. So first step is actually I'm going to slip, and I'm always slipping as if to purl, and then knitting, now joining my color B. And then I'm going to do a make 1 right. So I'm bringing my needle tip forward, back to front, knitting into the front, and then completing the stitch. Now I move into the stitch pattern. So it is going to be a slip 1, again as if to purl always, knit 1 with my contrast, slip 1, and I'm going to do this until the last 4 stitches. And now it's slip 1, make 1 left, which is going from front to back and knitting into the back of that stitch. And then the final thing is I'm going to move my yarn forward and slip the last 3 stitches. So I'm showing you, move the yarn forward, slip those last 3 stitches. So I've increased 2 stitches. I'm going to turn my work around, and now on a wrong side row, I actually start with knit 4. And then we're going to be moving into the stitch pattern. And so it's slip 1 with yarn forward. So I move my yarn forward and I'm slipping that gray. Move my yarn back to work the stitch. So this is just a knit stitch. Move my yarn forward again, slip that gray stitch. Yarn moves back, knitting that contrast color. I'm continuing until the last 2 stitches of the row, where I will finish with the knit 1, purl 1. Here we are on row 3. You can see this is a right side row, and my first step is to slip that first stitch purlwise always, and then knit into the second stitch. It's a little loose because of how that previous row ended, so I'll just sort of snug up that little stitch just a bit. Now it's time for make one right, where you come in from the back to front and knit into the front. And then I'm going to get to just knit all the way across until I have to the last 3 stitches. So you're supposed to do a make one left at this end, but you're about to see me make a mistake and do a make one right, which I did not catch. So don't do what you're seeing, do the other one. And now I'm going to move my yarn forward and slip those last 3 stitches. Flipping the work over, now I'm on row 4. And row 4 is great. Actually, you can see the start of that I-cord edge here emerging on the right-hand side of my work. So in row 4, I'm going to knit those first 3 stitches. Yep, there's my I-cord edge. And I'm just going to purl my little heart out all the way across to the end of my work. And that's the end of row 4. We're looking at that sample again, and you can see that I've gone on to add a second row of the slip one, knit one, where you can see the little garter bumps at the top, just that slip one, knit one up at the top. And then 2 rows where I've done the slip 2, knit 2 right here. And you can see, much easier maybe, that it's really just garter bumps and stockinette stitch bumps. Notice also that there's a kind of a nice space, so you can see like I'm pointing out a kind of a triangle, and that's just so that you can notice that the bumps are actually offset from each other. So a good thing to keep in mind as you're knitting, just keep your eye on that to make sure that you're lining up properly and not, getting off by a stitch or 2 here or there, that there's that nice little almost like triangle shape that you're seeing. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the Cashmere Goat on YouTube.